telling his story tonight. That's the last story. The time Mike Lenz saved a young boy. Please welcome to the stage, Mike Lenz.
I am proud to be a part of this university because there is I think we have a really good number of graduates from here with really legit vocal skills. I remember as a student in Dr. Loft's second year here teaching and I took speech from you and was like, yep, that lady, she knows what she's doing, you know. And Isaiah Whitlock, one of our former graduates, I mean, he has a term I won't share with you tonight. That's very iconic, and he's got such a great voice. So, and thank you, Julie, for putting in a plug for our program, and welcome all of you to this space. This is our Black Box Theater. Classes are held here. All of our student productions happen here, including some program productions. So, what I'm going to tell you tonight is a story that I have told quite a few times, and even to some people in this room have heard most of the story, but there's another part of the story that I never tell, and I'm going to tell that tonight. So I'm going to talk about some adult terms tonight. We're going to talk pretty frankly about contraceptives, specifically male contraceptives. Not in like a... No, I think it should be fine. Yeah, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be totally fine. So, we are also going to talk about premarital sex. Again, not in any explicit terms, you know, but, you know, we're going to talk about it. So, think you can handle that? Okay, good. I knew you'd be a doctor, so.
I got to hear me some of this. What?
There's a...
I heard it upstairs, so I'm like, wait a minute. Excuse me.
So there's a couple people I have to introduce for this, I have to tell you about. The first is a guy we're going to call Steve, and he was a friend of my brother's. And his real name is Steve, along with my brother's name being Steve, but there's no relation. And he was a couple years older than me, 3 years older actually, and was a really cool dude. In fact, I used to tell people that he had a lot of cojones, literally. In high school, he was at a party of a girl who he didn't particularly like, and she left her camera on a table, and he took some bathroom pictures with it, I guess, we'll just say it that way. The girl's dad figured out it was him, because he could see a corner of his shirt. Oh my gosh. And instead of calling the police or beating him up, which is probably what I would have done, or reporting him to the school or anything else, this girl's dad went to him and tried to extort him for money. To which he said, fine, show everybody the pictures you want, I don't care. So he was that kind of kid. The other person I need to talk about is this girl I went to high school with called Renee. And Renee was 2 years older than me, very, very pretty. My dad used to describe her in this very odd term. He would say, well, I wouldn't throw rocks at her, you know. I never really understood that, but I guess I kind of agreed with him. I wouldn't throw rocks at her either. And what you need to know about Renee is that she was an actress who I worked with quite a bit on stage. She was tall, she was very pretty, she had dark hair. We matched very well in productions, played husband and wife a lot. We're in one act and stuff. And I was super in love with her. I was super in love with her. She was very sweet. She was 2 years older than I am. Well, to get this story rolling, I need to tell you that I worked at the drugstore in Wyndham. I was a delivery boy, because I was responsible, evidently, and I stocked shelves. Monday nights we were open late. You knew everybody in town who was on Valium, or birth control, or certain antiviral drugs, I'll just say it that way. So you had to keep a code of silence about stuff. And the pharmacists, even though I was only 14 at the time, were very earnest about, you know, you need to not tell anybody anything you see or hear here. And so I didn't. I'm good at that. I'm a good secret keeper. Well, we sold condoms. There's the adult portion of it. And every now and again, someone would come in the store, wandering aimlessly, usually a guy my age or older, looking at the toothpaste. They totally weren't there to buy toothpaste. And then they would finally realize where the condoms were and then be super relieved because I was the one working at the counter. And so they would bring their purchase to me, literally sweating bullets, pay their however much the condoms were at that point, and off they went, their little white bag in hand. Well, back to Steve and Renee. Steve really wanted to date Renee and convinced her to be his girlfriend. Steve came into the store one afternoon and had this look on his face. Oh, and I have to back up a little bit in full disclosure here. This will be important at the end. The only reason I went to drama club that day, when they started drama club, a teacher walked into the big giant lunchroom at Wyndham Area High, where we were all at study hall, and he walked in and said he was beginning a drama club. And even though I knew I was good at it because I've been doing it since the 7th grade, I totally scoffed at it until Renee stood up to go to drama club. And I totally followed her, like, there we go. Okay, back to Steve and Renee now. Steve comes walking up the aisle. He's got that look in his eye. It's good to go because I'm working. He swings over to the condoms, grabs a pack to the counter, and literally has a swagger when he sets them down, like, there. I join him in his self-satisfaction, and I'm sure I grinned and nodded, and suddenly see behind him, about 10 feet away, Renee's mom. Now, theater people, we love chaos so much. We crave it out, and then we complain, and we say that we don't, but we totally do. And the moments we love the best are moments under pressure where the situation looks hopeless. Where this is suddenly life and death. And in the case of Steve Reinders and Renee's mom, oh, it was life and death. Totally was life and death. And in that moment, the actor-performer part of me kicked in. I leaned to the side, said, "Hello, Mrs. So-and-so," as my hand went on the condoms, as Steve began to turn around, as I slid them under the counter and into a bag, and into another bag, and then stapled the top. Thankfully, his mom needed a prescription, so he was there to pick that up. And as he turned back to me, he had the look of, my life is over, the firing squad is about to get me, and suddenly his eyes went to the counter, and the condoms were gone. I have never seen anyone more relieved in their entire life. As I handed him this package of condoms, and off he went. A couple hours later, he came back, purely to thank me, which he did every time copiously whenever he saw me for probably the next 3 years. And one time when I ran into him randomly at a bar in Prior Lake. So usually I end the story there. But I have another important part to it. And it's something I haven't really shared before, except on a test audience in the scene shop this afternoon, none of whom said they were able to come tonight. Because I wanted their opinion on whether I should tell it or not. And they thought I should. So I'll tell it. After this condom incident, maybe 10, 12 days later, I was on a bus, a church van, with Renee, this girl who I'm so in love with, but I know my brother's buddy has designs on, serious designs. And we're riding to a performance. We're gonna go see a play. And as she's sitting next to me, she asked me what I thought of premarital sex. Now, part of me was like, woohoo! Renee asked me about premarital sex, and then was like, yeah, I have no chance with this girl whatsoever. I was very honest. As a kid, I was that kid who would tell you the truth. And so I told her what I thought. And what I told her is I said, I know that it's not something, your parents and church and everybody may be condones, but I certainly think it's something that's happening and will be happening with the underlying part of I hope it happens for me very soon. It didn't. Years, literally years. It's fine though. I got game now. Mrs. Lenz and I, 20 some years. I don't know. It's all good. I got 3 kids. So, up until now, this might have been one of the coolest moments of my life. And then, here's where the bomb dropped. Because she said, what if you're dating someone and they really want to have sex and you don't? Oh snap. I know who she's talking about. And I was part of that. And suddenly, I'm not thinking about her and him anymore. I'm thinking about my sister. Thinking about my mother. Thinking about all my female cousins. And I realized what an incredibly sexist pig I had been this whole time. And like a ton of bricks, that all fell on me in that moment. So, I manned up, told her what I really thought, and that was that you shouldn't do anything you want to until you feel ready for it. And if it's love, you'll know it's love, and no one needs to tell you that it's love. I did hear, though, that Steve got ran off a few months later by Renee's dad with a shotgun. So I never really know how things ended. But that day and that moment totally changed me. Completely changed how I thought about dealing with women, how I thought about dealing with the men in my life, how I think about my family, how I think about my colleagues, how I think about students, everything. And I remind myself in those difficult situations when that comes up, when boy, it would really be easy to say something else. I don't. I say what needs to be said. I wish I had done that when I was a little younger, but thank God I figured it out. Thank you.